At 5 a.m., when no one is watching, when the world is still dark and silent, a small decision quietly decides the direction of your entire life. Not a loud decision, not a dramatic one, just a simple choice. Get up or hit snooze. That's where discipline lives. Not in the spotlight, not on social media, but in that quiet moment when it's just you and the promise you made to yourself. This is a simple story, no superhero, no million-dollar breakthroughs, just an ordinary man learning how to keep his word to the only person who truly mattered. Himself. There was a man named Daniel. 34 years old, average job, average apartment, average life. If you looked at him from the outside, nothing seemed wrong. But inside, Daniel carried a quiet frustration. He had big dreams. He talked about them often. He wanted to get in shape. He wanted to start a small online business. He wanted to read more books, save more money, wake up earlier, become more focused. He wanted to become someone he could respect. But wanting and doing are two very different things. Every Sunday night, Daniel felt motivated. He would sit on his couch, open his notebook, and write goals. Wake up at 5 a.m. Go to the gym. No junk food. Work on business for 1 hour daily. He felt powerful while writing them. He imagined a future version of himself, strong, confident, successful. Then Monday morning would come. The alarm would ring at 5 a.m. The room would be cold. His bed would be warm. His mind would whisper, just 10 more minutes. You deserve rest. And almost every time, he would hit snooze. 10 minutes would turn into 4. The gym would be skipped. Breakfast would be rushed. The business idea would wait until tomorrow, and tomorrow would quietly become next week. This cycle continued for years. Daniel wasn't lazy. He worked hard at his job. He paid his bills on time. He helped friends when they needed him. But when it came to his own promises, he was unreliable, and that slowly began to hurt more than failure ever could. One evening, after canceling another workout, he sat alone in his kitchen. The lights were dim. His phone was in his hand, scrolling through videos of successful people, fit bodies, clean homes, productive morning routines. Everyone seemed disciplined. Everyone seemed ahead. And for the first time, he asked himself a painful question. If I can't trust myself to wake up when I say I will, how can I trust myself with bigger dreams? That question stayed with him. A few days later, something small happened. It didn't look important at the time. Daniel was at work, and his manager asked if he could finish a report by Friday morning. Daniel said yes, and he finished it. On time, as promised. His manager thanked him and said, I appreciate you. When you say you'll do something, I know it'll get done. That sentence hits him harder than expected. When you say you'll do something, I know it'll get done. He realized something uncomfortable. Other people trusted him more than he trusted himself. That night, instead of writing a long list of goals, Daniel wrote just one sentence in his notebook. Tomorrow, I will wake up at 5 a.m. No matter what, just one promise. Nothing else. The next morning, the alarm rang. 5 a.m. Same cold room. Some warm bed. Same voice in his head saying, just 10 more minutes. But this time, he didn't think about the gym. He didn't think about weight loss. He didn't think about business success. He thought about trust. If I hit snooze, I'm telling myself my word means nothing. So he sat up. It wasn't dramatic. He didn't jump out of bed like in motivational videos. He just slowly sat up, feet on the floor, eyes half closed, but he was up. That morning, he didn't even go to the gym. He just made coffee and sat quietly. But something felt different. Small, subtle, powerful. He had kept a promise. The next day, he did it again. And the next, by the end of the first week, nothing in his life looked different. His body hadn't changed. His income hadn't increased. No one congratulated him. But inside, something was shifting. He was building evidence. Evidence that he could trust himself. And that is where real discipline begins. Not in motivation, not in hype, but in evidence. Weeks passed. Daniel added one more small promise. 10 push-ups every morning. That's it. Not an hour-long workout, just 10 push-ups. Some days he felt strong. Some days he felt tired, but he did them anyway. Not because he felt like it, but because he said he would. And something interesting started to happen. The more promises he kept, the quieter he became about his goals. He stopped talking about them at work. He stopped posting about new beginnings. He stopped announcing plans. He was no longer chasing applause. He was building character. Around this time, if you're enjoying stories like this that help you grow step by step, make sure you like this video and subscribe to English. This channel is built for simple, powerful lessons told through real-life stories, and your support helps us keep creating them for you. Daniel didn't become a different person overnight. In fact, from the outside, he still looked the same. But discipline was slowly becoming part of his identity. One Saturday, his friends invited him out late. It was 11:30 p.m., and they were laughing, ordering more food, planning to stay out past midnight. Old Daniel would have stayed without thinking, but he had a 5 a.m. alarm waiting. His friend said, "Come on, one more hour." He smiled and said, "I'm heading home." They teased him, called him boring, but he didn't argue. He didn't explain. Discipline doesn't need a speech, it just needs action. He went home, slept, woke up at 5 a.m. like he promised. That morning, as he sat with his coffee again, he realized something powerful. Every time he kept a promise to himself, he felt stronger than any compliment could make him feel, months passed. The 10 push-ups became 20, then a short workout. His body started to change. Slowly, naturally. Nothing extreme. He added 30 minutes each evening to work on his business idea. Not 2 hours. Not a huge leap, just 30 focused minutes. Some days were messy. Some days he was tired. But the rule was simple. Keep the promise. There were still days he failed. One morning, he overslept. The alarm rang and he turned it off without thinking. He woke up at 7:30 a.m. and felt that old disappointment rising. But instead of saying, "See, I knew I couldn't do it," he asked a better question. How quickly can I return to my word? The next morning, he woke up at 5 a.m. again. That was new. Before, one failure would turn into a week of quitting. Now, a failure lasted one day. That is growth. A year later, Daniel's life looked different. Not perfect, but different. He was in better shape. He had launched a small online business. It wasn't huge yet, but it was real. He had saved more money. He read regularly. He spoke with more confidence. But if you asked him what changed everything, he wouldn't say the workouts. He wouldn't say the business. He would say this: I stopped breaking promises to myself. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't show off. It doesn't post daily updates. It wakes up early when no one claps. It says no when no one understands. It keeps going when no one is watching. And here's the truth most people don't realize. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken yourself. And without self-trust, confidence is fake. It's just words. But every time you keep a promise, even a tiny one, you build something invisible and powerful. You build integrity. Daniel once heard a quote that stayed with him. How you do small things is how you do everything. He tested it. If he said he would clean his kitchen after dinner, he cleaned Italiano. If he said he would drink more water, he did. If he said he would read 10 pages, he read 10. No drama. No excuses. Over time, people began noticing changes. You seem more focused. You seem calmer. You seem different. They thought it was success changing him. But it wasn't success. It was consistency. There is a moment in every person's life when they realize motivation is unreliable. Feelings change. Energy rises and falls. Circumstances shift back to your word. That can stay solid. Imagine looking at yourself in the mirror and knowing that when you say something, you mean it. Not because you're perfect, but because you don't negotiate with your own standards. That kind of quiet confidence can't be bought. Daniel's story isn't about waking up at las 5 a.m. Specifically, it's about choosing one promise and honoring it. Maybe for you, it's going for a daily walk. Maybe it's turning off your phone at a certain time. Maybe it's saving a small amount of money every week. Maybe it's studying for 30 minutes. Start small, because discipline grows in silence. And one day, you'll look back and realize that your life didn't change in one big moment. It changed in thousands of small, quiet decisions that no one saw. If this story made you think about a promise you've been breaking to yourself, pause for a second. What is one small commitment you can start keeping tomorrow? Not 5, not 10. Just one. Write it down, make it clear, make it simply, and then protect it. Remember, you don't need to impress the world. You need to build trust with yourself. Before we end, I'd love to hear from you. What is one promise you're ready to keep starting today? Share it in the comments. When you write it down publicly, it becomes more real, and you might inspire someone else who's struggling quietly. If you believe this message can help a friend who keeps saying, "I'll start next week," share this story with them. Sometimes a simple story is more powerful than a loud lecture. And if you want more stories like this that help you grow step by step, make sure you're subscribed to English. We're building a community of people who believe real growth doesn't need noise. It needs commitment. Discipline is quiet, but its results speak loudly. Tonight, when you set your alarm, or when you make your next small promise, remember Daniel sitting on the edge of his bed at 5 a.m., choosing trust over comfort. That's where change begins. Not in the crowd, but in the quiet.